Hey friends, another worst vacuum cleaner ever video, and I think this time we've hit the jackpot. What's that sound? What is that sound? I think that's the sound of scraping the bottom of the barrel. I'm not sure we could go much worse than this one. We can try, but I'm not sure we can. Thinking about the other machines in this sort of mini-series of worst vacuum cleaners ever, you can kind of forgive Goblin for the housemaid, because at the time they didn't have any money, they didn't have any ability to design anything new. They were relying on old tech, and actually they carried that right through as well, right up until their end. Electrolux with the power system, yeah, they were kind of at their end of what they wanted to really do, certainly with like building machines in the UK. Hoover with the Freedom, the Turbo Master, Turbo Power Freedom, at least they were trying something new. They were trying something different. It was a terrible vacuum cleaner, but the base machine was all right, I suppose. But what you can't forgive Hoover for is taking something that was already pretty shoddy and making it even worse. So, where do you start with this one? Well, let's start with the genesis of it. Here is a very late Hoover Turbo Power Junior. Now this machine, I mean, this is a 2001 model. It's very late. I've done a video on this. I'll put a link to it. This was already pretty cheap. You know, it's not much you could do to it to make it cheaper, to do a cost-reduced version. But in 1989, Hoover did, and you kind of wonder to yourself, why did they bother? They sort of wanted a budget range of cleaners, but they already had a budget cleaner. Turbo Power Junior was by no means premium by the time 1989 rolled round, so they decided to make an even cheaper version of it. And that machine, brace yourselves, that machine is the 1989 Hoover Sprite. Is the handle going to stay up? Yes, it is. Wow, amazing. Okay, so this Sprite is a cheapened version of the Turbo Power Junior. And what I'm going to do in this overview section is run you through each of the differences and how they managed to make it cheaper and make it worse. So if we start from the top, really, on the Turbo Junior, the cable goes in through the top cable winder, which rotates so you can have a quick release flex. The on and off switch is at the top of the handle, so it's really convenient to get to. On the Sprite, you just basically have a two-piece handle, which is almost exactly the same handle as you find on the Hoover Junior 1036. It's almost exactly the same, actually. But the cable goes in the base here. It sort of goes in, well, it doesn't go in the base, sorry, it goes in the trunnion. If I turn the machine around just so that the cable goes in. There's the entrance point for the flex there. So, like, well, you have nothing to hold it at the top. You can hook like half a metre of flex over the top hook, but then you lose distance from the socket. I'm being very ginger with it because the next bit is the worst bit of the whole machine. There's absolutely no ratchet on this cleaner whatsoever. I've actually took a little video of it in the workshop because I was repairing the hood. So to give you a more detailed overview of what's inside the hood and the ratchet, I'll cut over to myself now in the workshop and I'll talk you through it. As if by magic, here we are in the workshop with the Sprite. And as you can see, I've taken the hood off it. And there, in all its glory, is a classic Turbo Power motor. Exactly the same as you'd find on any other Turbo Power vacuum cleaner. And you can see the slightly different chassis here. Now interestingly, there's still a gap here for where the height right control mechanism would go if it wasn't a Sprite. I think this chassis is actually slightly smaller than on a Turbo Power. And just to show you the ratchet mechanism, or lack of ratchet mechanism, all the machine has is this little tiny piece of plastic here which is meant to hold the handle in place, and over time they just wear away. You see it going there, it's going into the groove, but not actually doing anything. So when you pick the machine up, oh, yeah, great. It does nothing. Fantastic. Truly terrible. Oh my god, he's so boring, he goes on forever. Anyway, welcome back. So, how could you make it even cheaper? Well, you can change the hood. This hood is just one-piece hood. It covers the chassis. All the Turbo Powers had this sort of rubberized bumper strip around the side. Sprite does not have it. It is just one entire piece of plastic that covers the chassis. It's awful. You can see here, if I tilt the machine up, this one's broken, and they're all broken. They're all broken. Anytime you find one of these Sprites or one of the Junior Mark II machines, which I will do an overview of probably next weekend, it'd be interesting to continue the series on the Sprite. They always break at the corners because people are banging them into bits of furniture, bits of wall, into the walls, and the plastic is not the best, so it breaks off, so you end up with broken corners every time. The height control is gone. There's no height control here. And you'll notice on the Turbo Junior, if I tilt it back, it has a set of wheels. Wheels are good. Wheels help the machine move over the floor. The Sprite, well, how to make that cheaper? Get rid of the wheels. There's no wheels here. It has these sort of, well, I suppose they're laughingly called glide plates. So it glides over the carpet. It doesn't glide over the carpet at all. It's a complete pain in the ass. It's very, very difficult to use. It's a very short cleaner as well. I'm 6'2", and I find these very, very hard to use. I'm hunched over when I'm trying to use it. Pretty much the same with the Turbo Power range, but at least they are a little bit taller. So yeah, and one other interesting thing about this is, I just need to unwrap the flex for this, just to show you. So if you were to take the cloth bag off the Turbo Power Junior, you take the spring off, then unzip the bag. You've got 2 screws down the bottom that hold the bag throat in. You take that out, and then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 screws on a plate here, and this plate is screwed into the trunnion, and that's what holds this bag in place. Have a guess how many screws you need to undo to take the bag off the Sprite. So first of all, you have to unhook the spring so the bag becomes free. You'll notice I don't have any screwdrivers with me. And then all you do to take the bag off is twist and pull. And there you go. Your bag's off. Now that is cost reduction. And you've got to take your hands off. Take your hands off. You've got to take your hat off to Hoover for coming up with that, because that is actually genius. It is pretty terrible, but it's also very clever. Just going to put the bag back on. There we go. God, that took ages. It took forever. Is that going to stay up? Yes, it is. So there we go. That is the 1989 Hoover Sprite overview. Now I have the unfortunate task of taking it into the lounge and using the damn thing. Yeah. Oh, great. I'm not looking forward to this one. There is actually a massive slice of irony here. Because if you think about it, it's hard to get a vacuum cleaner that's more efficient than the Sprite is. It's doing very, very little, and it can do very little apart from clean carpets. So it has the standard Hoover brush roll, the activator there. It's got a 400 watt motor, which is very similar to what that was exactly the same as what the Turbo Power Junior had when it first launched. That was 400 watts. And a very short airflow path to the bag. So you stick a high efficiency paper bag in this, or even a HEPA bag in it, put a brand new belt on it, this cleaner will clean your carpets like virtually nothing else. It is so efficient and it'll do that job incredibly well. It'll knock spots off most modern cleaners, really. Obviously, it's not designed to clean your car, clean your sofa, clean your curtains, filter out 99.999% of bacteria and viruses, vacuum your dog, wash your carpets. You know, like all the modern machines are designed to do everything. This was designed to clean a carpet extremely cheaply. And I will say, in its defense, the one area that you can defend this awful, awful vacuum cleaner in, it cleans carpets extremely well. So, let's go to the lounge, plug it in, and give it a go.